Today's episode is all about how to anchor and inspire yourself with your own purpose, vision, and mission statements. I hope you enjoy it. Building a business and life that blends contribution, fulfillment, and financial reward? Welcome to Your Next Chapter, the show for women in their 40s and beyond who are on this adventure. I'm Angela Rasmus, and I'm delighted you're here. Hello there, and thank you for deciding to spend some time here with me today. I hope wherever you are that your day is going exceedingly well. And today I want to be talking to you about the concept of the cascade between purpose and vision and mission. I'm going to talk about why it's important, what it actually is, and to share with you a framework and some great examples so that you can start to create your own. But before we leap into that, if this isn't the first time that you've listened to the podcast, you may have noticed that I have a new intro. It's sort of short, it's sort of snappy, and it was actually one of the suggestions that was made to me with some podcast mentoring that I'd invested in over the last few months as I step more into doing these solo episodes and having the courage to actually share more of my thoughts as well as the thoughts of other amazing Next Chapter women in the interviews that I do. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think. When I first did it, it felt a little bit short, a little bit tiny, because I've tended to have longer intros, but I actually have come to really like it. And I think it gives you a chance to get into the episode more quickly. So yeah, I'd love your thoughts if you want to take a moment and send me an email. But let's get back to the topic for today. Now, this came about because I guess late last year, I started feeling a little bit disconnected from my business. You know, and that happens sometimes. We go up and down. I think we have a love affair with our business, and sometimes we can argue with it and sort of not feel quite so close. But when I actually paused and had a look at why that was happening, what I decided that the reason probably was, or at least part of it, was because I hadn't actually articulated my purpose, my vision, my mission for this business in a really clear way. It was up in my head for sure, and it was definitely in my heart, but I hadn't actually put it out on paper and put it in front of me where I could reconnect to it every day. And I realized that that was a really important thing for me. I am really visual, big reader. You probably realize if you've been in my world for a while. And I decided that I was going to take some action here and really create this and get it into reality and actually on my corkboard, and it's in my office now. So I guess when I was doing this, I realized the value of it, especially when I got to the end of the exercise. And I was wondering, do you have a clear and enduring sense of purpose? You know, I think most of us have a pretty good idea of our why, why it is that we're doing this business. But perhaps like me, you want to have that feeling of a deeper connection and to have it more clear. Well, if that's you, then you're going to love what I'm sharing here today. So I actually used a framework that was developed by a wonderful, gorgeous friend of mine. Her name is Carolyn Tate, and she's down in Melbourne, and she wrote, amongst many other wonderful books, The Purpose Project. And it's that framework which I've used and just tweaked a little bit that I'm going to share with you today and talk you through the reasoning behind it. And if you're visual like me, then I've also got a copy of this as a resource for you. So it'll have the framework and also some great examples for you to get inspired by. So if you just want to go to angelarasmus.com/110 download, then you'll get a copy of this particular resource, which I think will be really, really helpful. Okay, so let's look at the the four. I've come up with 4 reasons why having this cascading purpose and vision and mission is so important. Okay, so the first reason is that it keeps you anchored. Now, we all have wobbly days in business. As I was mentioning before, we can fall in and out of love, or we can have some really challenging times when it's not going the way you really thought it would, and you're feeling a bit disappointed, and you're feeling a bit invisible, and you're feeling a bit, is it worth it? Why am I doing this? Well, I'm a big fan of the Fabulous File, which you may have read about on posts on my website, and I'll be doing a episode about that pretty soon. But in between, we've got this real need to be anchored in purpose. It's such an important part. And when we have those days where it's just not feeling great, we can turn back to our purpose and our vision and our mission, and we can remember why it is that we're doing what we do. We can re-energize, we can reconnect, we can refocus, because there it is right in front of us. We can take a great big deep breath, remind ourselves of that purpose, pull ourselves up and keep on moving forward. So I think keeping ourselves anchored is so incredibly important. Okay, the second reason is that it provides you with a filter. Now, a filter means that, in this context, it means that when an opportunity presents itself, you can ascertain whether or not it is an opportunity or if it's a distraction. One of those bright, shiny options that us with popcorn brain can sometimes get covered in. So when you've got this purpose right in front of you, you can look at the opportunity, you can hold it up against it and ask yourself, does this take me closer to that vision? Is it aligned with my purpose? Does it fit with my mission, or does it not? And having that filter so that you can make those decisions and make those choices more easily is invaluable. It keeps you on the path to make sure that you're actually getting traction, not just taking action. So that's the second reason, that filter, that clarity on the destination where you're going and understanding what will help you get there. Okay, the third reason is that it allows you to stand for something. Now, standing for something bigger than what it is that you actually sell is just such a core part of our next chapter businesses. At this stage of life in particular, I know myself, and 99.9% of the women that I support have got this real desire for our businesses now to have true meaning. It's a little bit of this feeling of wanting to leave a bit of a legacy, of feeling that you've contributed something of significance to the world. And so when we get back from our actual service itself, for example, I do business and life mentoring. So do lots and lots of people. But why do I do it, and who do I do it for? That's where I have the differentiation that allows me to stand for something I really believe in. And for me, that's really about self-worth for women in business. So also standing for something bigger than what it is that you sell allows you to bring other people into your world, almost behind sort of like a movement. I mean, we all love to be a part of something that matters. And when you share your vision and your mission, and especially when you turn it into a manifesto that can really ignite and unite the type of audience you have, then that's when you can really make an impact. And what you're talking about, what it actually does is that it allows people to either feel with you, as in what you're talking about really resonates and connects with them and they want to come on the journey with you, or conversely, it doesn't. And it actually helps them recognize that you aren't a good fit. And that is just as important. Okay, so that's the third reason. And the fourth one is that when you have this clarity, you can begin to weave it into all of your marketing messaging. So there's real congruence wherever you show up. You can bring these sort of purpose statements and share your vision right through the copy on your homepage, on your about page, across your social platforms, on your podcast, in your videos, however it is that you're choosing to show up and be visible. Weaving in these purpose and vision statements really give people a good sense of connection. And there is that congruence, as I said, across all of your platforms. So it's great to have that type of copy and messaging ready to use immediately. So those are the 4 reasons why I think it's so important. And now let's have a talk about, well, how do you actually do it? What does the framework look like? And this is absolutely what is on the download that you'll get from the resource. So if we look at purpose, purpose keeps you focused on why you exist, really, why you're doing what you do. Vision aligns you with the goals, the destinations where you're going, and mission empowers you to actually accomplish it. So your purpose, that piece there is really about the heart. It's the heartbeat of your business. It drives everything else. It's like, consider it your guiding North Star. It's very heart-centered. It has to feel connected for you. And it quite often comes from spiritual attributes as well. The pieces of you that just feel like they're a part of your heart. Okay, you'll get what I mean when you're actually trying to write this down yourself. It can't be from your head. It needs to come from your heart, this real reason why you do what you do. Okay, then when we move forward, the vision itself, this is when you imagine and describe what the world would look like when your purpose has been realized. So whatever that purpose is, suddenly it's happening all around the world. This is what the world looks like when your purpose has been realized, when it's actually in action. And I'll give you some examples soon so you can see how this works. The mission is how you get from your purpose to your vision. So this is why you do it. This is what the world looks like when it's done. And the mission is how you get from A to B. So this does actually bring in your actual services, your path, the way you're going to bring this to life. And actually underneath all of this are your values. They underpin everything that you do. And with all of these pieces of this cascade, what you're looking for is, what does it look like in action? So for example, if one of your values is generosity, which happens to be one of mine, what does generosity look like when it's actually happening in your business? Well, for me, a big part of that is the generosity in terms of the content and the guidance that I provide to the world, even before you make the decision to step forward and become a client of mine. And it feels really good to be able to put that sort of quality resource and content out into the world. Okay. So when I was running my strategy sessions this week with a lot of the women who've just started in the Next Chapter Mastermind, we started with bang, putting this together. And it was hugely exciting in these sessions to see how much the women felt so connected and electric when these words actually came together. They got really excited about this articulation of exactly what their business and their heart and their life was all about. So I want to read you some of these examples, and you'll find that they're also in the document. So they'll give you that really good, clear, reality check, I guess, of how the pieces of the purpose, vision, and mission fit together. Okay, so the first one I'm going to share with you is from Anita, who is the founder of Flex Body, which is here in Sydney. It's a Pilates and a yoga and a bar studio. Now, when we worked together, that was Thursday of this week, this is what we came to. So the purpose, this is, the guiding North Star that really comes from Anita's heart. And her purpose is to help people feel better physically, emotionally, and mentally so that they can enjoy a vibrant and fulfilling life. So that's why she gets out of bed every day. It's not just to run classes, it's to help people feel physically, emotionally, and mentally well. So if we then move on to her vision, so this is what the world looks like when her purpose has been realized. Her vision is a world of strong, flexible, and balanced people who have committed to their own well-being so they can contribute fully to their families, workplaces, and communities. So that's that vision of when people have actually taken good care of themselves, they can take care of others. And that's what she is working towards. Now, remember, the vision, when I say it's how it looks in the world, it doesn't obviously mean that she's out there changing the entire world, but she's changing her piece of the world, the one she has direct influence over, and that'll be exactly the same with you. So how does she get there? Well, this is the mission of the business. It's to inspire and support our members to thrive by prioritizing well-being in their busy lives within a nurturing, encouraging, and inclusive environment and community. So that's the way in which she shows up in the world, the way in which she supports people in becoming those strong, flexible, and balanced individuals. And you can hear the words in there, within a nurturing, encouraging, and inclusive environment. So those are values that are coming out in her mission, and that helps her make decisions about what's going to be available in the gym, in the studio, and what sort of experience she's going to create for her members. So you can be sure that this is front and center when Anita's making decisions on a daily basis in the way in which her staff and herself will show up for her members. So it's really exciting. I love that one. So let's look at another one. Okay, this one is from a couple of amazing women. That's Emma Gray and Audrey Thomas, who are in Canberra and in Adelaide. And they work together in a partnership around time management courses and workshops. But they take time management to a whole new level when it comes to enriching your life. So their purpose, see how different this sounds from the typical time management approach? Their purpose is to help people deeply appreciate the beauty and fragility of life so that they live fully, richly, and courageously without regret. I get goosebumps when I read that one. And you can probably pick up from the edges around there, these women talking about the beauty and fragility of life. These two women have experienced rather intense grief in their own backgrounds, and it's given them this extra special appreciation for don't wait, make the most of every day. And so that is reflected deeply in their purpose. So their vision is people consciously and consistently making the choices and decisions that enrich their lives each day. Really strong vision. And so how will they bring that to life? What's the mission? It's to support our community and clients to develop the beliefs, habits, and courage that allows them to create and shape a life they love. So can you hear there within that mission, again, the things they are going to be doing with their clients and their community? They're developing beliefs, habits, and courage. So those are the guiding principles that are within the programs they develop, the workshops they hold, the one-on-one coaching that they do. They do this really cool thing called fast forward coaching, these 15-minute laser bang, let's make sure that you get moving type coaching, which I think is fantastic. So you can see again, or you can hopefully hear and feel the depth of what we're talking about here. It's not just about, okay, how do you balance your diary and how do you manage your time? It's the why behind it. And their own personal experiences have deeply influenced the way that they shape and communicate their purpose. Okay, let's give you one more. Okay, so this one is from the gorgeous Rachel Lancaster, who's over in the UK, and she has created the Magnificent Midlife Movement. You'll find her at magnificentmidlife.com, and she has a wonderful podcast and does some incredible personal mentoring and has a members club as well for us that have hit midlife and suddenly are thinking, is this it? Feeling a bit flat, but disconnected, etc., etc. So when she really sat down and thought about her own purpose, what she noticed was that the narrative that's out there in the world quite often about midlife is, inverted commas, it's a crisis. We're all going to have this crisis and it's going to be bad and menopause is going to take our legs out from underneath us and we're aging and etc., etc., all this negative narrative. And so she really got fired up about this and decided that her purpose is to enable women to create and live a positive and empowering new narrative when it comes to menopause and aging. So purposes are very personal. Okay. Remember I said that they don't come from your head. They come from your heart, and they really most often come from lived experience. And this is the beauty of it, because quite often we get concerned as business owners and entrepreneurs about how many other people there are out there doing the same thing as us. I mean, that's true, but competition is a good thing because it shows that there is a market where we're needed. And the beauty of having your own personal purpose woven into the heart of your business is that it gives you such utter differentiation, because no one has lived your life and no one has had your experiences and no one has your take on things, as is so beautifully shown in that particular purpose statement from Rachel. So her vision: millions of women embracing midlife as a magnificent opportunity to regroup, revitalize, refresh, and reconnect with themselves and what's important to them, transforming their own next chapters and the world because of the ripple effect their increased confidence and action creates. Now, you'll see this on paper when you get the download, and also on the show notes, because I know it's a long vision, but it's got these two really important parts to it. One is about the women themselves, but then there's also the ripple effect of how their increased confidence and action cannot help but change the world. Now that's a really big, hearty vision, which makes me excited when I read it. And so how does she actually bring that vision to life? Well, this is the mission part. Remember, this is the path that takes you from purpose to realizing that vision. So Rachel is going to inspire, empower, and support 10,000 women in midlife and beyond to move through the messy middle, to create their own magnificent midlife experience and set themselves up for long-term health, happiness, and fulfillment. So again, just like with the other two examples, you can hear within there the intention that Rachel has, which will then influence the type of courses and experiences that she creates, or in her case, has created for her audience, because she is so clear on where she wants to take them, and her own experience has shown her what she needs to share to facilitate that change in women. So 3 really good examples, I think. Now, for myself, I'm really feeling very good, very clear, very inspired by my own mission, which is now up on the corkboard. And I have moved it into a manifesto as well, which you'll find on my website you'll see if you go down to the about, you'll find what I believe. Because overall, I mentioned to you before that my core purpose revolves around self-worth. And this is when you actually do some reflection on what you feel you're here for. Usually it's not a case of finding your purpose, it's a case of uncovering it. It's already there. It just needs a little bit more refinement. And what happened when I started exploring this, originally I thought, yes, I'm a business mentor and I can teach you strategy and see opportunities and close the gaps and take your ideas and help you shape and form them and help you with all sorts of business development. But none of that is important until you've got the belief in your own worth, until you really connect with that worthiness. So initially, I thought that came from confidence. But I realized that confidence is more of a surface level emotion. It's really important to have it, and you have different, levels of confidence in different situations. But underpinning that is your self-worth, that absolutely anchored belief in your value and the value of what you have to contribute to the world. So now my purpose really is this. It's to connect women with their self-worth so that they can take that confident and consistent action on their business and personal goals. But I recognize it couldn't just be confidence. So that purpose, when I lean into it, when I close my eyes and I repeat it to myself, it feels exactly what I'm here for. And it's that type of connection that I would love you to have as well. I'd love you to explore and to play with the words. This type of thing takes some refining. I mean, occasionally the purpose comes pouring out onto the page and it's just like a bolt of lightning that hits you. But sometimes it needs a little more coaxing, a little more consideration. So for that additional help, yes, absolutely. Grab the download. So again, that's angelarasmus.com/110 download, and you'll get the exercise. But I also encourage you to have a look perhaps at Carolyn's book, The Purpose Project, because there's some fantastic examples of how you can actually take your purpose. And if you're not ready to turn it into an entire business yet, you can start with a project in the job role that you're in now or in your spare time. But at the end of the day, what we're feeling is that when we've got this clarity, everything starts to look and feel different. It feels, as I mentioned before, more anchored and more clear. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap. There was 4 reasons why doing this exercise is so important. When you have this purpose, vision, and mission clear, it keeps you anchored when you have the wobbly days. It helps you filter to make decisions. Is it an opportunity or is it a distraction? Does it move me towards my vision or does it take me off on a totally different path? Number 3, it helps you stand for something bigger than what it is that you simply sell. And that then allows you to communicate this and bring other people along with you in almost like a movement. And the 4th reason, it allows you to weave these feelings into your messaging into all of your visibility activities so that there is congruence with the way that you show up in the world. There's those 3 steps that you can take by going through the exercises, and there's actually 3 great examples in there as well, which I shared with you today that can act as those inspiration points for you. So take some action, go and download. And then my invitation to you today is to come along to the Your Next Chapter community. That's my online Facebook group where you can come in, share the work that you're doing here and ask for some feedback. Let us get behind you and let you know how your vision feels to us as Next Chapter businesswomen moving on that same adventure, that same journey. For me, it's always about contribution, fulfillment, and financial reward. That's what we're building with these Next Chapter businesses. And having that clear purpose, vision, and mission can bring that into the light so much more quickly. So thank you for spending your time here with me today. You probably notice I've got a bit of a croaky voice. I've been working quite a bit today. It's actually Saturday because tomorrow my husband and I are taking off up to Port Douglas in Queensland in Australia. It's a belated wedding anniversary holiday. It was due last November, but my husband had to go in for some surgery, and so we had to put it off for a while. So I'm getting everything complete so that I can jump on that plane and be relaxed, sit on the beach, read a book or 2, and come back even more refreshed to help you find out what will unfold in your next chapter. So I can't wait to see what you come up with your own purposes and visions and missions, and I hope they help you feel anchored and inspired, just like putting mine together really helped me. So until next time, take very good care. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Your Next Chapter podcast. I really do appreciate your time. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And of course, my website, angelarasmus.com. If you enjoy the show, I'd love you to share it with another woman who's in the midst of business and life beyond 40. And if you love it, a review on iTunes or whatever app you listen in on would be fabulous. Reviews somehow impact that deeply mysterious algorithm and make it easier for the show to be found, which is always a good thing. So thanks again, and until next time, take care.